Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think all the microphones work now, but we're going to find out in real time. This next panel is the secrets to top creators' success. I think everyone else's microphones work better than mine, but my name is James Dell. I am the publisher of Passionfruit, and the partial reason that all of you are here today. We helped organize this party to bring more creators together and do more events where creators are actually the center of the creator economy, not the people who call it an economy. We have a great panel here today to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that creators go through when they have that first moment of success, how to leverage it, how to scale it, how to make more money, grow their communities, grow their audiences. So I'm going to let the panelists introduce themselves. Please grab a drink at the bar in the meantime, and we will get started. So, hello. Monica, what's up?
Hi, James. I'm Monica Khan. I do a couple things, but I've worked with creators for almost 15 years. I co-founded the Bay Area Creator Economy with a few of my co-founders here, and we're co-hosting the event with you guys. And I am a partner, head of digital of Strand Entertainment, an LA Hollywood talent management company working with traditional talent, but I started their digital division where I'm signing digital first creators and helping them grow their businesses. But I'm also a advisor to brands about how to work with their creators. I'm currently advising GoFundMe.
Am I taking now? Okay, cool. Hi guys, my name is Dylan Huey. I've been in the creator space for 9+ years. I started off as a content creator when I was 14 years old on a little lip syncing platform called Musical.ly. Started managing other talent when I was 16. Then I started a company called Reach, which started off as a national influencer organization that's currently across 100 universities. And we grew that out to a for-profit marketing agency, talent agency, venture division, and film and TV studio now. So been in the space for a while.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Lightcap. I'm a partner at Slow Ventures, and we just launched a creator fund where we invest into creator holding companies.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Carlos Gill, so I'm representing GetResponse of the U.S. Brand Evangelist. GetResponse has a whole suite of creator tools that we rolled out in the last year. We also offer email marketing. I've worked in the digital and social media space since 2008. I would consider myself an OG, both on the content creator side. I've worked with several brands, both B2B and B2C. I've also started brands of my own and have had the opportunity to work as a head of social globally for companies like LinkedIn, BMC Software, and others. So I'm really excited to be here today.
So there's plenty of conversation at these things about what one needs to do to get started as a creator. I don't really want to focus on the starting with this panel. I really want to focus on kind of that moment when it starts working. And all of a sudden it goes from no one's looking at my stuff, no one cares about my content, and maybe you have that first viral hit, or maybe it's that, that first brand deal that comes in. What is, in your experience working with creators, maybe we could just go down the line, what's the one thing that creators do not expect in that moment that they have that first bit of success? What's the first big surprise that I think creators need to prepare for if they're going to experience that moment?
I think that they're so good at the creative that they don't realize all the different ways that they should be scaling at that moment. So oftentimes I feel like, especially with YouTube creators, they hone in on that creative and they focus on continuing to bang out viral hits as much as they can. But what they don't realize is that by focusing all in on that, they actually miss out on scaling in other ways that could be beneficial to growing their presence and business. So that's, I would say, they don't totally realize the benefits of delegation as key to scaling at that moment.
I think we're in a unique perspective here in the creator space right now where, especially on TikTok, anyone can have a viral hit, and it's been so democratized where on YouTube, you had hours of editing and vlogging and figuring out what the creative is, where a lot of people become viral on TikTok, and with short form content, it's ever more easy. And I think that there's, going off of what Monica just mentioned, I think a big aspect is longevity, realizing and understanding that you are a business yourself as a creator, and finding a way to expand yourself more than just making that one video that went viral. How can you repeat as well as grow yourself so you can build yourself up as a brand, as a creator? And all the successful creators are trying to do other things than just be a content creator. You have Mr. Beast, who has Feastables and all these different creator-led brands. And then, we have creators who are trying to do music and acting and production and all these different mediums. So it's really trying to build yourself up as a trajectory. Yes, you got one viral hit. Yes, you can make 2 TikToks that have over 1 million views, but how can you grow yourself into a larger entity and a growing media company?
Yeah, I think similarly, when we look to back a creator, they're usually at the size where they're either expanding into a different business, whether it's software, marketplace products. And so the biggest kind of hurdle from I'm an amazing content creator, I'm an amazing community builder, to, oh my gosh, I'm a CEO, is learning how to manage and hire people, which is a totally different skill set, but one that is obviously vitally important.
Let me ask you guys a question. Who in the audience has had a viral hit before on social media? Okay, a few of you. For those of you that have, you know that there's a whole rush of emotions and feelings that come from going viral. It's pretty damn cool. And I'll just share with you a very quick example. In 2020, I started a company in my house in Jacksonville, Florida, called Outlaw Masks. We were providing masks to frontline workers. We were going to Walmarts, Targets, creating content of frontline workers putting on our masks and getting the very raw emotion, very raw reaction. Those videos we would put on TikTok, and they would generate millions of views. The aspect, and where I'm going with this, is the aspect that doesn't get spoken about enough, from my standpoint, is the psychology behind what happens when a video goes viral. Because you literally will wake up one morning, if you have systems in place. For example, we had a store on Shopify. So our first viral hit, we woke up one morning to $10,000 in sales, which was a lot of orders for a $20 product. Psychologically, it's pretty fucking cool. But you then go through these emotions of, well, how do I do this again? How do I do this more? You become very greedy. You have these waves of emotions where some days you become almost depressed because your video fails. Then you also go through the aspect where people troll you. And I learned how to love the trolls, because the trolls actually create more engagement, which creates more views, which helps with virality. But you have to learn over time how to build thick skin in this industry, and that's more professionally. Personally, I've used TikTok as a place where I share content that has nothing to do with who I am as a marketer or as an author. It's all personal. I share very raw content about my family, about my wife, about my kids. And guess what? There's assholes that exist in this world. And we call them trolls. And you have to learn psychologically how to navigate through the emotions of going viral, because everyone thinks it's cool, everything is life-changing. And to an extent, it can be. But the dark side about it is, I think, what we need to speak about more.
I think that's a great point. And I think it's true. There are operational things you need to do ahead of time, but there are also like mental kind of, you need to be prepared to wake up to that one morning. And, I'm not a huge fan of the word manifest, but like that vision of what it looks like when I'm successful is kind of important to embrace, I think. What are those specific, how does one do that? Like because it is hard. It's boring and dark when you're, making something for a week and then no one looks at it and you're like, well, I got to make another thing now. So what are some of the ways you actually can prepare, maybe both on the, emotional, psychological side for that moment, but also the actual physical infrastructure and process and having the machine down so that you're able to kind of anticipate that? Is there a way, maybe both from the platform perspective, the event, I feel like everyone has something to kind of add here. So whoever wants to go first, but.
Yeah, I think that what we're speaking to is that the journey of a creator, especially early on, like they're like solopreneurs, right? They're founders, and that journey can be really lonely. And I think that the founders, creators, solopreneurs that are successful are the ones who realize that they need to surround themselves, whether it's people they hire or people that they just talk to commiserate with, to learn from, whether it's peers in the space who are kind of doing something similar or mentors in the space. I feel like maybe the entrepreneur world, maybe a little bit more developed than creator economy have kind of resources available. There's a little more of a playbook of like, oh, I got to find my sponsor, my mentor, whatever. I think that that's really just forming in creator economy. And I think creators, as we see a boom in that happening every day, everyone wants to be a creator, like realizing that you're a founder and you need to surround yourself with people to help you through these pieces. But then it's also like from an infrastructure business side, you can forge partnerships with different platforms and things that have services to support you. I worked in partnerships at YouTube for many years, at Facebook for many years, at Spotter. And that's what we did. And a lot of creators don't realize these platforms are here to help you. So then it is kind of like a networking game, similar to what founders are doing, right? I actually think that the creator founder like journey, we don't talk enough about the parallels. And like going on the other side, like founders should be more like creators, building out loud, the whole investing in your personal brand and all that. But anyway, that's what I would say. I think surround yourself with people, but also like partnerships. And this is where creators who are often very young and don't necessarily have the professional business experience don't realize the bigger potential of all that they could unlock, that they're only one person, how much can they actually capitalize on? And then like, I feel like we like crap all day long on creators, like, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, but they can't do it all themselves. But the ones who are successful realize that they shouldn't be the person doing that. They step back and enlist the support as they should be.
I'll take two things for you guys. First is delegating. Going off of what Monica said, especially creators being their own entrepreneurs. For creators who want to be successful, they need to start understanding what they don't like doing. That's first and foremost. So, I've been a creator since I was 14. My first thing was I don't like editing. I don't like, the multiple things, but I love the business side of content creation. So for me, I never found a manager because I was like, I don't need to have a manager because I love negotiating the brand deals. But I was like, I hate doing the editing. I hate all of that aspect. And that was the first thing that I made sure I delegated because I wanted to make sure I had longevity. I had creator burnout for about 1.5 years, so I stopped making content because it felt like work. And I think it was for me, I put myself in a situation where I was like, oh, I'm just going to do all of this all by myself, while also managing creators. And it's a lot of workload if you're, doing and wearing multiple hats all at the same time. So understanding how to delegate and how to allow yourself to feel comfortable to give and have other people do tasks that you don't enjoy doing. That's first and foremost. Secondly, the creator space is a very self-isolating industry. Majority of the people who are making content are making their bedroom by themselves, right? And for creators who are making content by themselves, which is, we're in one of the few industries where, it's standard for a creator to be making content, for them to be producing the content by themselves, for them to be filming it and editing in their own bedroom. There's only a few industries like that. I think the music industry, if you're an independent artist, it feels like that as well. But in a self-isolating industry, it's so important to find a community where other people who are passionate about, being a content creator and the creative side of content creation can really be able to come together. So at least on my side, my biggest solution was to start a community of content creators amongst universities, because especially during COVID, when I was at USC, and I just graduated in May, I was like, I want to find a group of people who are equally passionate, because I don't want to have that situation where I get burnt out again because I don't have other people to bounce ideas back and forth with. So for me, I've been able to take that community and grow it out across all these different universities, where creators who are really passionate about the creator space, who want to take their content creation to the next level, can be able to do so just by joining a student org at USC or all these other campuses, similar to joining a fraternity or sorority. So that's been so important for all these people, because I think that once you've been able to find a community and a family of people who are able to support you, then it's all the way up from there. Then you have the backing. If you, have a writer's block one day, you can bounce ideas back and forth with other people. If you need access to those partnerships or the networking that Monica just talked about, you're only as big as your network, and you're only a few degrees off from the next big person. That's what I really did to make sure that I had longevity on my side.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both what Dylan and Monica said. I think, especially in this idea of like, you're an entrepreneur as a creator. And I think the thing I think a lot about is, and what we like kind of screen for, is just making sure that the creator has a really strong why. And it can't be fame, it can't be virality, it can't be attention, it can't be eyeballs. Like there has to be something much, much deeper, because inevitably, like you're gonna, people aren't gonna watch your content for a little bit, or like you're gonna hit a stumbling block, or it's just gonna get really hard. And so ensuring that you have like a deep why and in around what you're doing, I think is really important. And then I think that also translates into like what I call almost like positive delusion, and just like, making sure that success happens. And I think, again, it's a trait that we see in entrepreneurs that I think kind of the best creators have.
Since we're talking about virality, I first want to say that going viral should really never be your goal. Going viral is a byproduct of the content that you create, the quality of the content, also the community that you build over time. What I do want to point out is that being a creator today means you run a business, and you need to think like a business professional, right? And I just, first of all, want to level set and say everyone today is a creator. Whether you are in the business of making content for a living, whether you have a coffee shop or a small business, if you have a cell phone and you're posting on Instagram stories, guess what? You're in the business of creating content, right? So you have to be strategic, and you also have to have systems in place, right? Because there will get to a point to where you build a community, your content scales, and it's going to do something for you one way or another. It's going to gain you followers, it's going to gain you more revenue, hopefully, and you have to have systems in place. Again, when I had my e-commerce business, Outlaw Masks, my business partner and I, it was just two of us running our startup out of my house. So as money started to come in, as videos started to go viral, and we're trying to process this emotionally, we very quickly had to pivot into protecting ourselves, getting a CPA, getting an attorney. And like when I work with creators, most of the time, what I see is that these creators that are very talented men and women aren't necessarily business people. Like they don't come from a corporate background, right? So when I ask them for things like, what are your rates? Let's talk money, right? They're not prepared to have that conversation with me. They want me to assess their value. And look, folks, again, you're running a business. So you need to know your worth, right? That's like one thing that if there's anything I want you guys to walk away with there in the creator space is have a value. When someone approaches me to work with them on a campaign, I know right away, like this is what's gonna cost you. And if you don't wanna pay it, it is what it is, right? I'm not trying to work with everybody, right? So I think again, as a creator, yes, going viral is great. We view that as like the end all be all goal, but it's not. You really need to think about your business as a whole, have systems in place to protect yourself and know your worth.
I think you hit on something that is kind of one of those secrets to success. And I kind of want to go down the line and figure out some of the other secrets that maybe people aren't so aware of if you've just started doing this or you're just getting successful at this. I'll go first. I mean, I didn't realize the most successful creators I've worked with are the best people. They're accommodating. They answer things quickly. They are like a joy to work with. And I think there's this impression that like, well, once you hit a certain point, you get to be a diva and, creators can be difficult. But the creators I wind up working with time and time again and going back to year after year, they're all just delightful to work with. They are easy to work with. They're accommodating. They understand that things change and they're able to adapt. And so I think, I don't want to say roll over for your clients or anything like that, but I do think really prioritizing just being a good person while doing business, especially in this space. We don't work in banking. And so it does not need to be we don't all work in investment banking or anything, but like, you don't need to be able to, kill all your competitors to succeed in this space. And I feel like in a lot of business instances, that's kind of, creators don't want to go into business because they aren't that kind of competitive. They don't need to be. Be a good person and people will do more business with you.
I just want to expand on that if I can, James. Like this goes back to like more business 101 and relationship building. So the folks out there that are spending money paying creators, they're almost like the gatekeepers to a certain extent, and they talk, right? So I know, for example, like at Get Response, we're looking to work with creators. We have budget. We're looking to spend. So if you're a creator, come talk to us, right? When I'm here. But at the same time, I'm networking with all the folks here at this event on this panel because I want to know who do they enjoy working with, who's gone over, beyond for them, who do they recommend. So just keep that in mind. This is a very small space that we're in as well, right? And people do talk. So building relationships, and like James said, right, that is going to be the key to your longevity from a pure business standpoint in the creator economy.
I'll take it. I completely agree, and I think we're in a unique perspective in this industry, like many other industries, that this is not a transactional relationship where I'm trying to do a one-off deal with a creator just so I can make money and then never talk to a creator after that. For the brand deals I do, and I work with over 250 brands a month through our marketing agency, and then we have a talent agency here at Reach. For us, the creators that we prioritize are the ones who we know like the right back of our hand, the ones that we talk to every single day. And I'm in a unique perspective because I'm a creator myself. But for my director of influencer marketing and our influencer marketing managers at our company, the creators that we think of first and foremost are the ones that we're getting food with in LA on a Sunday night, and who we're messaging and texting. And, it might be our managers on our team who are starting that relationship, or it might be the creators who say, hey, we just want to know what you guys are doing because we know that you guys are doing some cool stuff in the creator space. So that's been super eye-opening to just see that relationship aspect, because those are the creators that we want to support. We want to support the creators who are doing cool things, who we know, like, and trust, but as well, are really professional, are going to hit their deadlines on time, and, who are easy to work with. And, for us, that's what we really look at.
Yeah, just to add to what Dylan and Carlos said, I think that the value of relationship building could not be emphasized further. Like, to be here at South by Southwest, all of these events, the IRL connection building is priceless, right? Mm-hmm. This is so much better than a DM and a LinkedIn inbox, right? So I couldn't stress that enough in so many different respects of, whether it's your content or you're trying to explore a different platform, trying to pitch yourself to a brand, like that is so huge. And that is truly the secret, and how you sort of expand your ability to do that because of different partners that you bring on to help you do that. Couldn't emphasize that enough. And I also want to build upon, Carlos, when you were saying earlier about rates and knowing your value. I can't tell you how often when I'm, as a creator manager, working with the creators that I represent, talking with creators that I'm trying to figure out how to work with, that like they sometimes think of themselves as a commodity. Yeah. That they're just, I'm just dedicated video integration, shorts, how many impressions. You are so much more than that. How do you tell your story? How do you thread that narrative? And certainly I, as a creator manager, being able to see the big picture, I'm helping put that together for creators. But creators should remember that they are so much more than just the reach and the impressions and those vanity metrics that you think the brands want you for. You just got to pitch that and work with people who can help you pitch that the best way possible. Because that'll just lead to stronger outcomes. You're tired of the one-offs. If you want those longer term partnerships, you got to put yourself forward in that framework, right? So anyway, I just wanted to emphasize.
Yeah, I think if I could sum up like what everyone just said kind of with respect to that question, and it's something like a framework that we think about at Slow, is like on the spectrum of extractive to accretive, like you must be accretive, whether it's a brand deal, whether it's your community, whether you're thinking about a product you want to launch, like everything must be deeply accretive to your community, to your brand partners, people that you work with. And I think it's this like really important mindset shift of, let me actually extract value from this counterparty versus how do I like add value to them, and how can we like partner together? And so it's a subtle but important difference, I think.
Are there other places or communities or resources that you find that the creators who are successful at this are using or tapping into? Like, this is my 15th South by Southwest. I would not be doing this kind of event if I hadn't been coming to things like this for 15 years and getting to know a lot of the people in these kinds of rooms. And also, like, the people who do this kind of creativity, like organizing an event, not my strength. But, like, I know that person who knows how to do stuff like this. And so by doing our creativity together, we get to have things like this at places like this. Are there other places, other like convening forces that you think creators should be spending more time like getting to know the lay of the land?
Well, not to toot my own horn, but we did co-found the Bay Area Creator Economy, which is a local community for those in the Bay who are wanting to build community with other creators, with other potential partners in the space who are working in the creator economy. I do think those IRL spaces, like these events like South by that we look forward to every year, are fantastic. But how do you also represent the sort of always on locally that you can count on, so you don't have to always fly to certain locations? And the Bay Area in particular, just being home to a lot of the creator platforms, being home to the tech, to the AI, to the VC, it is the perfect backdrop in which to network. And it's not just for those who live in the Bay Area, it's for many who often have to go to SF that once a year or twice a year to meet with their board member, to go pitch for more funding, whatever it is. Come meet with us, like come hang with us, and we'll even create events around you. But that was what we wanted to create, to sort of be a destination for people that wanted to engage in the Bay around creator economy. So I am excited about these kinds of communities popping up. I think many of you may have heard of Lighthouse. Whaler just launched that in Venice. They're launching that in Tribeca as well, an actual physical space for creators to gather. I think we're going to see more and more types of these kinds of IRL, virtual. We also have a newsletter through which we engage with creators, so that even if we can't see them in person, they're always going to feel connected to some sort of thread of news and information that we're getting that we want to make sure everybody knows about. I think we're going to see more and more of these spaces for creators to engage in these ways and not feel like they have to start from scratch every single time. It's out there for you to plug into, and that's really exciting.
How many of you are using LinkedIn? Cool. I see a lot of creators posting on LinkedIn every single day. But let me tell you something. The real growth hack is using LinkedIn from a business development standpoint. You can literally print money on LinkedIn if you're using it accurately. I'm going to give you guys a growth hack. Who wants a growth hack? Real quick. All right, cool. I'm going to give you guys the game. So here's what you want to do. First of all, use ChatGPT to identify every single influencer marketing agency that exists in the United States. If you're in the US, go on LinkedIn, hit up their account execs, hit up their CMO, hit up the owner of the agency, and start building relationships that way, right? You do that. Also, you go on LinkedIn, type in influencer marketing manager for any brand that you want to work with. So I'll give you guys an example, right? Like I'm a B2B creator, but I like to work with lifestyle brands. I'm a father, I'm a husband. I want to be able to travel with my family and do cool shit, right? So what I'll do is I'll go on LinkedIn and I'll look up influencer marketing manager for Marriott. And I'll simply ask them, what do you need help with? Like, that is such a powerful question in business. If you really want to unlock doors, ask people that manage budget, what do you need help with? And they're going to tell you, hey, I'm trying to promote this. I'm trying to promote this ebook. I've got this platform. I've got this product. I've got this campaign. And then your job is to connect the dots between how your content can help them with their KPIs.
My advice is probably a little less practical, but honestly, like look outside the creator industry. I think as amazing as these communities and spaces are, I think there's a lot of like very similar advice that's disseminated. And so I think to the extent you can kind of open your aperture to other ideas, other business models, other industries, and how people are, what people are doing really successfully, I think more of it is translatable than you would think.
I think we are misled to think that there's an ideal resource or tool for creators that's going to game change their life and make them the number one creator all of a sudden. And I think the truth is that you have to just be an open person, a yes person in this industry to say, okay, I want to check out what LinkedIn is about, or I want to check out what Lighthouse is about, or I want to see what Reach is doing because they seem like they're doing cool events. I think the honest truth is if you are open as such and you take everything in, you take a dive into all these different platforms and resources, you'll start to build your own resource pool that works for you. I can't say that this is going to work best for one person because each person in the creator space is so different. There's no textbook that you can purchase to tell you, here's how you can be the number one influencer. But if you figure out what works for you and what you're really good at and the resources that might be able to help you, whether it be ChatGPT for LinkedIn or all these other tools that are out there for creators like Spotter, etc. Then you'll be able to just succeed because you'll build your own pipeline that no one else can be able to replicate because it's yours.
And I think ultimately what you're trying to build is something sustainable. And sustainable creativity, sustainable business, sustainable lifestyle requires a certain amount of not everyone's mix is going to be the same. And so what works for me may not work for you. And, I think getting to know other creative people and people who support creative people is a great way to find that mixture. And coming to things like this is a great way to find those people. And so, I'm personally thrilled that we get to do these things at stuff like this. I also think I like that more of it is popping up. And so it's my feeling that if we could get more people throwing more in-person events, there will be a kind of richer creator economy. I'm still waiting for the digital tool. I haven't found a place online yet because it seems like each of these, for a while it was why isn't there a place for creators? Because creators have their own places. They have their own communities that they're building in their own places. They don't actually need a creator community. They just need opportunities to connect with people who have their own communities.
I think the best creators that are out there right now are ones who built and cultivated their own ecosystem internally. You have, the mythical side of things with their own community. You have Alan Chicken Chow, who's one of the most watched YouTube Shorts creator, and he's been able to build his own creator group. You have Brent Rivera and his AMP group, and all these different ecosystems are kind of like their own unscripted reality TV show. They have their own cast, they have their own plot, they have their own storyline. Those are the groups that are able to be successful, are the ones who've been able to go beyond just the solo creator that you are, built your own world and cultivated it into what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Mr. Beast followed the same formula that you speak of. He actually had kind of a small group of other creators early on when nobody knew who he was, who were just obsessed over their data, over their performance, and talking with each other regularly about that. And every time each of them would post a video, they would share why they think it worked, why they didn't, and sort of get feedback and be really humble, right? To get that feedback of what do you think went wrong? Was it my thumbnail? Was it the title? Was it something in the storyline? The first 30 seconds, whatever it was, right? But I think that this concept of growth mindset and forever being a student, you're constantly learning regardless of where you are in your journey, that you're open to that feedback, you're open to learn, open to network, open to finding your own spaces. That is the key to growth, right? Inviting that learning, and it's in spaces like these where you'll do that, but it really is the creator's own playbook to determine that for themselves.
I just wanted to add that when you come to events like this, first of all, I love social media and I love the internet from a connectivity standpoint, but I think we can all agree that social media is really noisy, right? And even if you pop into Facebook groups for YouTubers or TikTokers, it seems like everyone always has an agenda that they're pushing. When you come to events like this, these relationships are priceless. And I love events like South by because everyone's here really for the same common goal, and that's to network. But in order for you to get the value of coming to these events, you need to make yourself vulnerable and talk to more strangers, right? I see so many times that people come in groups, they hang out with their homies, they have drinks with the homies, and then they don't talk to anyone else besides the people that they came with, right? And that's doing networking wrong, right? You want to go wide, right? You want to go meet random people, right, in the line at coffee. Talk to everybody around you. And what you're going to see is, I've done it today. Everywhere I've gone, I talk to people and I say, hey, are you on LinkedIn? Are you on Instagram? Right? And we're connecting right away. I've gotten 12 new Instagram followers just from doing that, right? If you do that consistently over and over again, what's going to happen is you're going to organically expand your network. And now more people are going to put eyes on you that otherwise they would have never known that you exist.
We've been vamping because Shira was getting her makeup done at our headshot and photography booth in the back. We're actually a little late to start our next panel, so just final closing thoughts. What is one of the biggest secrets that if you could impart it to people who care about this space, want to grow in this space, what should they take away from coming to stuff like this, working with people like you? What's the one takeaway? Obviously, there are many, but pick one.
I'll just kick it off. I'll say, like, look, you need to be capturing data from every single person that you meet. You need to connect on LinkedIn. You need to connect on Instagram. You need to get people's phone numbers, and you need to get people's email addresses. Like, you have to take advantage of these opportunities, not just to do this and talk, but to actually exchange and get people's information. And keep in mind, like, the follow-up is the most critical, right? When you leave South by Southwest, don't wait a week or a month to hit people up. Like, on the flight home, start hitting up every single person that you met and follow up.
I said this before, but I think it's just like deeply knowing your why and then also being able to articulate it when it matters. I think that's kind of and it's not like a, something, it can take a couple reps and take a couple versions, but I think that's really important.
I think networking, especially for events like these, are very individual to who you are as a creator. Sometimes the best networking is just being a fan of other creators and sliding into their DMs and saying that you're a big fan of their work. But I think whatever you do in terms of resources or networking, etc., it's doing what you love. For a lot of creators, they don't become successful until their 700th video. And if it takes you 700 videos to go viral, figure out if you actually want to do it before you dive into it, and understand that it's going to be a grind until you might become a big successful creator.
Plus one to everything everyone just mentioned. But I think to add to that, kind of what I said earlier, like having a growth mindset, forever being a student, consistency, like iterate, learn, iterate, be humble, like take that critical feedback. If you're only getting positive feedback, something's wrong. Something's seriously wrong. You need to always be having constructive feedback regularly, so you're constantly leveling up, so that you're building to your why, right? Like your viral video is not your why. You need to figure out your why, to Megan's point. But like being humble, constantly learning, constantly iterating to get to that next level.
Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll be hanging out. So come say hi. Thank you very much. Yeah.